It's been a couple of months since I did the 24-core Threadripper Hackintosh video, and while you guys absolutely loved it, it's sadly pretty much out of date at this point. So in this video, we're going to talk you through the current method of how to set up a 3rd gen Ryzen Hackintosh, talk you through how to actually get it all set up, get your bootable USB stick ready, and all that good stuff. Now I do have a couple of things that I need to mention first, sort of disclaimers. First one is actually that 3rd gen Threadrippers are currently not supported. You will only be able to use 3rd gen standard Ryzen or 2nd, 1st gen Threadrippers and stuff like that if you want to go that route. There are a load of people working on getting support for that, but that's not currently supported, so do keep that in mind. And second, I'm using an AMD GPU here. Now that's not because NVIDIA GPUs can't be supported, it's because they take a good bit extra amount of work to make them supported, and so while I will be doing a separate video on how to make an NVIDIA Hackintosh, that will be a separate video coming later, and for now we're going to keep it reasonably simple and use AMD. And finally, this video will inevitably become out of date in the not too distant future, and so if I've either missed anything or if there's something that ends up not being right anymore, or if you have any troubleshooting issues, I'm going to include a whole load of links in the description down below, not only to the tools that we're going to be using in this video so that you can make it nice and easy to actually go set all this up, but also to a much more in-depth guide that can hopefully help you through some troubleshooting steps, and especially if you're not necessarily using the same config I am, that might help you out better. This video isn't designed to be an encyclopedia of all things Hackintosh, instead more a simple guide that helps you, get a Hackintosh up and running to start with, and then you can tinker with it further later. Now with that said, let's talk about the hardware you'll need. Besides the graphics card really having to be AMD, at least at this point anyway, you can pretty much use anything else you like. I'm using a Ryzen 3900X 12 core with 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. I'm using an ASRock B450 Steel Legend motherboard, which will actually be important in a second depending on your Ethernet chipset here, and the rest of the system is pretty standard. I'm actually using a Samsung 970 EVO M.2 SSD as my boot drive as well. When it comes to the software, the majority of the work is actually making the bootable USB stick, so we're going to start with that. Now you will need a few tools to be able to make this happen. I'm going to include a full list on the screen as well as links to them in the description down below for easy setup, but suffice to say you'll need GIB macOS, you'll need GenOS and BIOS and Mac Serial, also you need something like Notepad++ or an XML editor, and once you've got the macOS or Hackintosh running and you're booted into macOS, you'll need to download and copy Mount EFI to be able to make it boot without the USB stick connected. So once you have all of that downloaded, you're going to want to run GIB macOS first. That's the thing that's going to download a copy of macOS for you, so download the most recent copy of Catalina, which is probably going to be by pressing 1 and enter. Let that download. Once it is downloaded, you can then close that window and you can plug in your USB stick into your system and run the makeinstall.bat file that's inside the GIB macOS folder. Inside the make install tool, you'll want to select the drive that you want to install your OS to. That's going to be, for me, I think number 6, and so you're going to press that and you're going to press yes or Y to confirm you want to format it, let it format, and then you want to copy the folder that you just downloaded through GIB macOS, which is your copy of Catalina. It looks something like this. Essentially, it's probably in your downloads folder inside the GIB macOS folder, and then inside macOS public release, and then you want to copy that file path into the command prompt window to let it then extract the operating system onto USB stick. Now that might take a while, but once you've done that, you can then open up the USB stick and you'll see that there is a drive called Clover there. You want to actually delete the EFI folder that's in there at the moment, as that is the Clover bootloader, and we're going to use a different one called OpenCore. Now I've included a copy of my bootloader, my EFI folder, in the description down below, and if you use that one, it comes with a lot of the files already there for you, including the text and the ACPI stuff, so if you do use that one, it will make things a little bit easier. So you want to copy that EFI folder onto your USB stick and then go into it and go into the OC folder and have a look around. You want to make sure in the ACPI folder that the SSDT_EC0.aml file is there. You'll then want to go into the drivers folder and make sure that all of these files are in there. And then you can go into the kext folder, which is kernel extensions, or you can think of them as drivers to make your hardware supported in macOS. And the main one that you'll need to make sure is there is one for your Ethernet chipset. Now, it will depend on what motherboard you're using to what kext you'll need. In my case, my ASRock B450 Steel Legend board uses an RTL 8111H chipset, and so I have that kext in there. You can generally find what chipset your motherboard has on the motherboard manufacturer's website. Go to the product page for your board, press specifications, and you should generally see that. Otherwise, a bit of Googling can generally help you out. But if you're using, say, that Realtek one, then you want the Realtek RTL 8111H in there. If you're using Intel, then it depends which one. If you're using most of the older Intel chipsets, then the Intel Mozzie Ethernet or Mozzie Ethernet kext is the one you want, but the newer 211 chipsets are handled by the small tree kext that is also already in there. So once you're set with the kext, you can then go and open the config.plist file that's on your USB stick. You're going to want to open that in something like Notepad++, which is what I'm using here, or any XML editor, and the first thing you want to do is install all of the newest AMD patches. You can find that at the link in the description down below. That is the 17H patches, and you'll want to open that file on GitHub and open your Notepad++ copy of your config.plist file and replace anything that's already in there from the array under the key patches all the way down to the close of that array with all of the new patches that are in the GitHub file. You'll then want to scroll down a little bit to find the add section where we add all of the kexts in. Most of the kexts are already preset up for you and you don't need to change those, but depending on if you need to enable any one of those Ethernet drivers, you will want to scroll down to the bottom and copy one of those dicts and paste a new one in and replace the bundle path with the kext name including .kext, and then you can replace the comment and I think it's the executable path with the name of the kext minus the .kext itself, and then you can scroll down even further to look at all of the serials and UUIDs. For that, you will need to run Mac Serial and Gen SMBIOS. You want to do Mac Serial first. What you do is use command prompt to cd or change directory to wherever you downloaded Mac Serial to. You can run it with macserial32.exe space -- model iMac Pro 1,1. I'm going to leave that command here for you to see what I mean, but when you run that, it will give you a list of serials. You can then copy a pair of those serials. The shorter one is the system serial number and the longer one is the MLB or the board serial number, and you want to replace every copy of that in the config file. There's quite a few in the different sections under the generic, under SMBIOS and that sort of stuff. So replace all of those, and then you can run Gen SMBIOS, press 4 to generate a new UUID, and then again copy that and replace all of the instances of a UUID in the config file, and then once you save it, you should be good to go. So if all of that is done right, you then should be able to take your USB stick and plug it into your soon-to-be Hackintosh machine and boot from it. You might need to select install macOS from base system, but in theory, as long as you don't have any other bootable devices connected, it should just boot to the USB stick, and then, if all goes well, you should be greeted with the Mac recovery sort of options. The first thing you want to do is open Disk Utility and format your boot drive to be an APFS, ideally APFS extended journaled file system, and then you can close that and reinstall macOS. So when you pick the reinstall macOS option, first thing, you will need Ethernet connected to do this. You will need internet access from the machine to be able to install macOS the way we're doing it. And I should also mention this might take a little while and the system will reboot in between as well. But if all goes well, you should be greeted with the standard Apple setup wizard. You can go through that, and in theory you can even sign in with an Apple ID if all goes well here, if you want to anyway. And then you should have a fully functioning Hackintosh. Now, one final step is using terminal to git clone Corp Nute's mount EFI tool. You might need to install Xcode DevTools. You just press OK and agree, and then it will do that for you. And then you can git clone Corp Nute's repository. You can then do chmod plus X on the mount EFI .command file, and then you can run that mount EFI command file by /mount-efi.command, and then you can select your boot drive, whatever drive you installed macOS to. In my case, it's the 970 Evo, and so I pressed 1 and enter, and then you can open that EFI folder it just mounted, and also open your USB stick, which will need to still be connected, and copy the boot file and the EFI folder into the new EFI folder that's there, and then that's pretty much it. So with all of that said, do keep in mind this guide is not necessarily a complete cornucopia of information, and you may find that you run into issues along the way. If you do, feel free to leave a comment, join our Discord, or even better, join the AMD OS X Discord, where they have a whole load of incredibly smart people who can try and help you out. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for this guide. I will be doing some more videos with Hackintoshes, including, like I said, an NVIDIA GPU install version. So if you're interested in that, do let me know in the comments down below as well. And if you want to see more Hackintosh content, including that NVIDIA guide, then do make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell notification icon to make sure you don't miss it. If you want to support me in making these videos, then do check out the links in the description down below. There's stuff like Amazon and Overclock UK affiliate links that don't cost you anything to use, but massively help me out when you do use them. Or there's stuff like merch for hoodies or t-shirts like this one, or a load of other cool designs. That definitely helps out in being able to justify making Hackintosh content. It's hardly the most sponsor-friendly stuff in the world, but there you go. And there's a lot of other stuff down there too. If you want to check out the Threadripper Hackintosh guide that's technically now out of date and, as far as I'm aware, doesn't really work, do check out the video over there. And of course, if you have any questions or suggestions for more content, including Hackintosh stuff, let me know in those comments down below. Otherwise, that is pretty much it, and we'll see you all in the next video.